Welcome to the KPC Smart Money Podcast. And we're on a roll. Our last podcast was just about Christmas traditions. And since we are, financial advisors, we're going to make this podcast about how to have a great Christmas and don't get into debt.
Don't go broke over
Don't
Christmas.
go broke over Christmas, right. And we feel like we needed to do this podcast because we have encountered a lot of people, and we love a generous heart, okay? We love to be generous, but at the same time, you've got to be responsible and a good steward of your money. And so when you're producing your Christmas list and you're thinking about how much you're going to spend on this person or that person, or even what some of your Christmas gift giving traditions are, you may want to rethink it, because there is no point in increasing or getting credit card debt for Christmas. If you've saved up and you've got the money, great. But we do find some people just going way overboard. And so how fun is it, like in January when you get the credit card bills? Might have been great on Christmas Day, but do you really want to pay for gifts that you probably shouldn't have been given anyway? And, there is a lot of fun. Like, you know what? Our grandkids are going to get spoiled, okay? They just are. Because it's just the joy of watching them open gifts.
Spoiling them? Yes?
Yes.
Well, yes.
Right. Okay.
You didn't have to think about that too long, did you?
But here's the thing. What cracks me up about kids is they get all these toys, and some of them can be real pricey, man. And they might play with them for a little while and be done. Or they outgrow them in a short amount of time. And then next thing you know, they're being, re-gifted or stuck in an attic waiting for the next kid. When, you know what kids really like? A pot and a spoon. They like measuring cups. They like boxes. They like the things that are hanging around in the house. And guess what? Your cute little 2 or 3 year old grandchild or child is not going to remember what you got them.
Well,
okay?
I don't know about you, because you with the boys, with Brian, it's just, we used to see how fast he could break things. When kids are little, man, they're just so rough on their toys. We wonder, is this thing going to last till the end of the day? Right?
Yeah.
Some of these plastic toys, they get smashed around. But, Karen, I think one of the things that we've instituted, and I think a lot of families do, that can keep you from going broke, is, you mentioned earlier in last week's podcast, is picking a name, on who's, you get a nice gift for one of the adults. I might get Rachel, you get Eric, and et cetera.
Right.
And we pretty much decided that the adult children are not really going to buy for each other.
No.
You might buy for a niece or a nephew, right?
Right.
But the adult kids don't usually exchange gifts.
Well, your dad put the kibosh on any gifts a long time ago.
Oh, he did that? Probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Where he said, look, here's the deal. I don't need anything. You don't get me anything. I don't get you anything. And I'll put a little money in a savings account for the grandkids.
Exactly, which is great. And so I think sometimes, too, you want your kids to have fun. But the amount of money that you spend on someone for Christmas should not translate into, this is how much I love you.
It's good.
And so if you find that you are buying Christmas gifts because you think it shows how much you love somebody, or you're hoping maybe to get their love back, put the brakes on, man. That is not what Christmas spending is all about. It just isn't. Love with children and parents and grandkids, it's all about the little things. It's all about the time that you spend with them. It's the little games that you create with them. It is not how much you spend on gifts. So do your budget and yourself a favor. Don't go hog wild on gifts. I remember one year where we decided we're not going to do gifts. Instead, we're going to write a sincere, heartfelt letter or card to the other person and just say why we think they're special.
Kind of a eulogy when you're still alive. Right? Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Well, and so you've written them a letter that tells them, positive things and what you feel about them and the things that you love about them. Can I tell you that most people would rather get a letter like that cost you nothing except your time than they would a sweater or a tie or some cookware?
You know what some people do is in lieu of buying gifts, they go on a trip, right? They're going on a trip.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And so let's say, look, we don't really need anything. Let's all go on a discounted cruise or something. Here in Texas, we can. There's a lot of people that'll drive down to Galveston. It's about a 5-hour drive. Drive down to Galveston and get on a cruise ship. And sometimes if you can go spur of the moment,
you can get a good
during
deal.
The holidays, you can get a good deal in lieu of presents. And then, when you're on the cruise ship, if you want to, when you get to port, you can maybe buy somebody a gift when you're in port.
Right. So again, that time, all of that is great. So we really want to throw out there some, think about it. Think about things that could really touch a family member or a child or whatever that doesn't require money or a lot of money. Just, again, getting around the dinner table and just having a great dinner, writing cards or letters, heartfelt cards or letters. As Kevin said, maybe just, plan an inexpensive family outing. Or listen, if you're going to buy gifts, they don't have to be a couple $100 a pop. Get something, maybe educational that really isn't expensive for the younger ones. And think about doing, what do you call it, the Secret Santa or the, the elf, the giving elves, where for you adults, just pick one person you're going to give a present to. That way everybody's got something to open, but you are not sitting there spending X amount of dollars on 20 or 30 different people.
And a lot of families will put a dollar limit. They'll say, okay, if you're going to, everybody try to, keep the gift under $50 or something like that, because at the end of the day, if everybody does that, nobody outshines the other.
Yes, right.
Somebody gets a watch and then someone gets a pair of socks. This way everybody's, kind of even, and so you don't have jealousies going on. And
right.
It's just something to open, right?
Yeah.
The main thing is the meal and the camaraderie and watching the little kids, try to break the toys.
Well, yeah. That's just it. They open their gifts and then it's all bets are off. They're all checking out their new toys. Just sitting there and watching that, is fun. Some of the fun ideas too is that I think are thoughtful and not that expensive, especially with cameras these days. Do you know how many pictures you probably have on your camera, on your phone? I mean, I mean, thousands and thousands. And you know what? Sometimes it's just so hard to organize those. And you can go to like Shutterfly, or you can go to even like, I don't know, I think Walmart might have them, but where you can just take maybe 20 or 30 of your favorite pictures right off your phone. They're already there, and put together just a little photo album of the year or of somebody's life. Everyone loves.
My sister does that. Well, she works for Xerox, so she's in. But she'll make a book on a trip. Like she and I went on a trip to. We went to Boston and up to Maine, and she takes lots of pictures, and she brings a really nice camera, not just her phone, and then she'll transfer those and make a booklet, and it'll say our trip to Boston, or our trip to New England, right? And she'll give that as a gift. For people that. I don't really need another sweater, do you?
Nope.
Right? So wouldn't you really rather have that the kids give you pictures, like maybe a book of the
absolutely.
of you to, the grandkids at Disney World or something like that.
Yep.
You know, and it's not super expensive. It could be one of the gifts that you get. So in summary, let's just say, you know, put a limit. Pick at one adult in the family that you're going to trade gifts with, right? Put a limit on the amount. Think outside the box. Do something that's heartfelt. You know, even if it's just a little book on a trip you took together, right? Or a memory type book.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. So, Karen, we're pretty much out of time on this. Just be careful with those credit cards.
Yeah.
When you're at the
don't
store,
have
be
it,
careful.
don't spend it, okay?
And have a list. Stick with the list. Don't go crazy. And we'll talk to you next week. You're listening to Karen and Kevin, the KPC Smart Money Podcast.
You've been listening to the KPC Smart Money Podcast with Kevin and Karen Christ. To listen to more episodes, visit kpcsmartmoney.com. You can also find the KPC Smart Money Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher.
KPC Financial Solutions is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through KPC Financial Solutions, LLC, a registered investment company. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any reference to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. KPC Financial Solutions is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by KPC Financial Solutions. Hypothetical examples have been provided for illustrative purposes only. It does not represent a real-life scenario and should not be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation.